Welcome to the Howler Mouse channel. And, 15 years on YouTube, 47 years collecting comic books. And it has been a blast. And the 73% of you out there who are not subscribed that have been watching my videos, I've had a bit of a resurgence on this old channel, which is fantastic. 73% of you guys are not subscribed, so feel free to please subscribe. But feel free to thumb this video up, thumb it up, and then go ahead and hit that bell if you do that. So you know when these videos are going to pop up, and when we do a live stream. A lot of live streaming here on this channel, and I'm going to show you what I consider, in my opinion, in my collection, possibly the most hilarious book I have, in my opinion. It is the book that puts the word funny in funny book. Okay. And it came out when I was 10 years old, right? And a little clue with what it's going to be, if I haven't, already put it in the title, who knows, is, Ambush Bug, right? Ambush Bug was one of my favorites before you had She-Hulk, and before you had Animal Man, and especially the Deadpool. Knowing they were characters who all break the fourth wall, they know they're in comics, you had the Ambush Bug. And Keith Giffen did, I followed this along. These are my beat up, well loved copies uh, that I've kept of Keith Giffen's stuff, especially with the Ambush Bug. Somewhere around here, I have all the miniseries. The Ambush Bug's first appearance was in DC Comics number 52. Much different tone than anything. He would have these flying mechanical bugs that his antennae would pick up on, and they would fly around, probably the size of a bee, and wherever they were, he'd be able to teleport. And he was quite the villain in DC 52. Then he kind of became an anti-villain slash anti-hero with the book I'm going to show you in his second appearance, and eventually they just got rid of the bugs, and it was full on, he knew he was in a comic. Also, some stuff that Giffen was doing. This is a recycled bag, so no, we did not pay $1 for this. This one is my original from when I was 12. The Legion of Substitute Heroes. Keith Giffen, Paul Levitz were doing Legion of Heroes, doing some great stuff in there, but we started to see some of the stuff that Keith Giffen did to crack us up. I pick this up in these dollar bins whenever I find them because it's good stuff. These are from 1985. Now, why am I talking about Legion of Substitute Heroes and Ambush Bug? Because one of the most hilarious books, if not the funniest of the funny books, is DC Comics Presents number 59 that you see here before you by Keith Giffen. Keith Giffen has quite a few styles of penciling, if you will, and this is one that's actually really well done. So on the cover here, you see the characters from the Silver Age. Legion of Substitute Heroes were rejected heroes, rejected teens, if you will, um, from the Legion of Superhero stories in the 60s and in the 70s. They would have tryouts. You would come and actually try out in front of the Legion to see if you could join, and these were the rejected heroes. They usually couldn't control their powers, or their powers were useless or silly, right? For example, Color Kid, basically, I think he came in the Bronze Age, I'm not quite sure. The rest of them are Silver Age here, and there's some other characters in here. All he could do is really change the colors of objects. Polar Boy and Fire Lad couldn't control their powers. Stone Boy could just turn to stone, and Chlorophyll Kid could just sort of grow plants, and things like that. Kind of silly for you newbies, but I grew to love them. So this came out in 1983. 1983, I was 10 years old, and I'll go ahead and tell you, I really needed this because 1983, as a 10-year-old, with what was going on in my house, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And stuff like this was just fantastic to sit there and read. I read this over and over and over, right? So basically, you get a silhouette. Who could this be? This is his second appearance of Ambush Bug. This is by Keith Giffen, Paul Levitz, as I was telling you, who did Legion at the time. Story and breakdowns, additional dialogue, and the great Kurt Schaffenberger doing finishes, right? But anyway, we've got Ambush Bug right off the book. Right off the bat, he sees Superman flying into the air. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane, faster than a speedy bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings with a single bound. It's party time. And you'll see throughout this, we have little bees coming out of his costume, out of his circuitry and stuff. So this is our second appearance, second appearance of Ambush Bug, and he's psychotic. He's a lunatic. He's just wanting to mess with it. He is chaos. So what does he do? He jumps up there, jumps on Superman, gets Superman flips out like, "What are you doing?" Because he's covered his eyes, and he gets caught up in Superman's cape. And as he's spinning around, he looks up and he's in the year, what is this, 3000, right? Okay. But he doesn't know right off the bat that he's in the future. That's the irony, the ironic humor in this. There's Marx, there's some Marx Brothers in this. There's Superman being the first, the great stand up, the straight man, if you will, the straight man. That's what I was trying to say, right? So he thinks he's just going to deal with Ambush Bug. He's like, "You lunatic." So he goes to try to find the Legion. They're not there, but the Legion of Substitute Heroes are there. We can hold on to this character until the Legion gets back in the old clubhouse. By this time, the Legion of Superheroes formed in a cave, if you will, outside of Metropolis, I believe. And then as we shoot up here into the 80s, somewhere in the 70s, they got the Legion of Superheroes old clubhouse that they used to have, right? They inherited it. So anyway, the Legion, they're not there. Whatever's going on, they have him, but they don't realize that we have these inept, inexperienced heroes. We have Porcupine Pete, who can uncontrollably shoot his quills, and we have Infectious Lass, who her body contains, her planet was so riddled with disease, they became immune to everything, but they became carriers to all sorts of things, right? Any kind of disease you can think of, she has, and even ones that are made up that you would never think about, right? Like, for example, in that Legion Substitute Special one shot I showed you, Color Kid uh, gets infected with a gender bending virus, and he wakes up as Color Queen, if you will, right? So, anyways, as they're walking through here, and they have funny little dialogue going. She's, "Thanks for coming to the Holo show with me, Infectious Last. I don't get many dates. Me either, Porcupine Pig. Not even when I joined the Substitute Heroes. I kind of thought that would improve my reputation. Well, you have given the team some class. How about keeping me company while I take over monitor duty? So nobody can go out with her because her powers, she's infectious, right? So when they open the doors to go into the monitor room, all the bees come out, and now wherever the bees are, the electronic bees, the Ambush Bug is able to bounce around and teleport wherever he needs to be. Do you hear the pop? So basically, we now have chaos in the future. And as you can go through, Superman can easily capture the Ambush Bug at times as he goes through with him. And right when he catches him, a tree pops up. And oh no, Chlorophyll Kid is like, "Oh no." We got Fire Lab going, "Well, you missed him by that much, pal. By that much. That much. Oh, look who I got. I got Superman." And he comes down there, gets a little chastised. Superman is, like I said, the ultimate straight man in this. Then we have Stone Boy coming for him, right? He's just going to tackle him. That's all he's going to try to do, is tackle him. And as he misses him because he teleported, he falls down. They hear a big thoom, and they're like, "Oh no!" And Stone Boy is hurt. He turned to stone, and now his head is in the concrete. So insanity ensues, right? We think we have Ambush Bug wrapped up in his suit. Superman is trying to keep his patience. Everything is going wrong, and he still teleports. Now he has Superman's cape, and he's messing around with the aliens everywhere, talking to them. He wraps the cape around an alien. He says some psychotic stuff to him, drops him. And I think you get the point. Now he has to be saved. It's a little throwback to thinking that Superman, with that cape, you should be able to fly. Now we have an alien going down as everybody is flipping out, looking at him, and they have to save him. And that's where we get introduced to Antenna Lad. He's got big ears, antenna, and he's just able to pick up a bunch of radio signals and stuff like that. So everybody gets their moments with the Ambush Bug, and where he is a complete lunatic in this, just having fun with everybody. He's like, "Oh no, Technicolor," when he looks up and sees Color Kid coming at him. The costume just makes him think Technicolor. So we've got him messing with aliens, and very cartoonish. You're right, very cartoon. This is like Bugs Bunny has been set loose You know, in the world of Star Wars, you know, who knows, right? There's even a Return of the Jedi reference in here. We get the science police involved. We get everybody talking about things. They even like, even with their dialogue, they're like wearing out everybody they talk to, including the science police. So Superman has had it. He zooms around the future metropolis, catches all the bugs, zaps them, and he's like, oh no. He uses his X-ray vision to find where the ambush bug is, and it turns out he's at the Superman Museum, where he's going to learn all he could potentially learn everything there is about Superman in our present, his secret identity, who he works with. But oh no, there's a standoff going on with the science police, and it's because he has a piece of cake. He has held a piece of cake hostage, people. This lunatic. Okay, how could he do that? And of course, we get the cake. And sort of Antenna Lad and these people from the future are like, my God, careful, Superman. He is crazy. He tried to pull my ears off. Thanks, man. You know, all right. So glad we're here, Soups. Let's get down and boogie. Blasty's got bugs in here, too. So he has more bugs coming out of his circuitry. And they're all over the place. So we've just got him popping up everywhere. So as he's running through the museum, they try to catch him. He teleports. Everything they try to do, they hit Superman with. He's looking around trying to find him. And he's like, where does he keep getting these bugs? And of course, we get a punchline there. Would you believe nothing up my antenna except baby bugs? You know, so he's right there. Like I said, this is Bugs Bunny, man. This is Bugs Bunny versus Superman is what it reminds me of. He gets popped. He finally gets decked. He's able to teleport through walls. And we have our irony here where if he had just turned around, he would see that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. He's messing with people. You know, the aliens are freaking him out. He's getting grossed out by a double header, a two-headed member of the Legion. He messes with Affectulass. He's just running around wild. And then he comes in here, and here's how they end up doing him. They're catching him. They catch him because they have a sign that says "Do not enter," the only sign that we've seen in modern day English. So he's like, I'm going to go in there, you know. So Prejudice rears its ugly head even in the land of the mouse. He kind of thinks he's at Disneyland. What's next? The table by the kitchen doors? Oh, not for me. Of course, it could be a trap. And I could be president someday. Careful, Bogo Boy. Check it out slowly. He's monologuing. I'll take 2 purple hearts and call you in the morning. And it's some kind of camera. And astute Superman readers know that not only is Superman watching, but this is a Phantom Zone ray. You know, Phantom Zone projector. Excuse me, right? And then it says, do not touch. Just like in a Looney Tunes cartoon. Just like in Ren and Stimpy, you know, 7-8 years from this later in the future of this. But it points right to a button that says, do not touch. And he's like, nobody is around. And he does it. And he ends up putting himself in the Phantom Zone. And Superman is relieved. He goes around, catches all the bugs. Polar Boy got the crap beat out of him by ambush bug somewhere in this. Doubleheader comes out. Everybody's willing to celebrate. And then they're like, you know, we're missing some members, you know, now that we can, you know, this little adventure is over. And we've got Fire Lad, Chlorophyll Kid, all trying to figure out how to get Stone Boy out of there. You know, he's on his head. He's stuck in the ground. How do we get him out? Maybe with a crane. And that's it. That is what I consider probably the funniest comic I had. Of course, you need to find this. It is DC Comics Presents number 59. And, you know, I would say read it if you like Looney Tune cartoons. And just something to, you know, kind of get you through the day. All right, guys. Thumb up the video. Make sure you are subscribed. Everybody read their comics. Go ahead and share this also. Share this also. Let people know somebody out here is actually talking about comics. And in a very light way. But anyway, you guys be excellent to each other. Read your comics. And, hey, you know, we'll do this again soon.